Drop some questions even from now, just so I get a good idea of what you guys want to know today. Um, put a put a one in the chat if you're a complete beginner. Put a two in the chat if you're a novice. A three if you consider yourself a intermediate, I guess a little bit more than a novice, and then four if you're experienced. Well, of course, you're still open to learning more. So you got one, two, three, and four. Twos and ones and threes. So you guys see, we all could learn from each other, right? If you're a one, you could learn from a two. If you're a two, you could learn from a three, right? And I want everyone to see that we are all learning. Oh, we got a five. Let's go. I need to sign up. Yeah, whatever you teaching. Let's go. For real. Because these markets is crazy. Up and down, right? Up and down. Let's take a look, right? This was Nvidia today, right? But if you take a quick look at the markets, look at this down. All right, this is scary. So I'm going to create a whole new drawing without any of that stuff. So very scary for the ones, right? For the twos, you might have already be experienced with some of this stuff, but we're gonna explain some of this for the ones, and then we're gonna heat up and get into some trading strategies. All right. So before I do that, let me just send this link, and I need at least one question from everybody in here, right? Before we start. All right, we got some good input. All right, a lot of good input. This is what I love to see because it gives me fuel. It gives me fuel, right? As a teacher, fuel is questions because we get to teach. All right. All right, we got how to use the VWAP, support and resistance. Let me shout out some names, right? K is in the building. Patricia, he says support and resistance. We got Wheezy holding trades longer. All right, that was Nvidia today. You guys don't know. You guys don't know. This here was Nvidia over yesterday and today. And I ended up calling out the trade here or in this area, and we held it all the way to about here. That was about 226%. And then we got another trade from about here to there or here to here for about 45%. So we're going to go over those trades, and we're also in a swing overnight. So that is the goal for today, to learn how we could take advantage of moves like this, right? And like Wheezy said, how do you hold your trades all day like this, right? When you're up 100%, 150%, 200%, right? We're going to learn how we could build the right mindset and follow the right strategy to be able to hold trades. And even before that, to find a trade like this, and to even be able to analyze the market to know when is this, or when is a good time to get in. All right. So we got O says risk management. Jarvis says, what time frame do you like to enter? And is that the same time frame you exit on? Great questions. Oh, NECA, we got the entries and exits. Bree says, when to enter and exit. Hillary, good entry and exit points. Kim, I'm a novice, so almost everything. Great, right? Good, because almost everything. Let me see. I like that. I like that. I don't know why, because that's me. Right? In class, especially college, it took me 6 years to graduate instead of 4. So the teacher would always say, um, hey guys, you got any questions? Like in the middle of the class, and I'm the guy. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to explain everything over again because I need to know questions about everything. All right, so iPhone, enter and exit. No, I just want you guys to notice there's a lot of entries and exits, right? When to get in, when to get out. Just know that this depends on your strategy. All right. So I want you guys to sit on that idea that um each entry and exit will depend on the strategy you're using. And most likely a lot of us are using different strategies. All right. So we got demand zones for Marcus. Demand zones. I love teaching demand zones. It takes a little bit of time, but good thing I know how to cut it down with some easy steps, right? I think I taught demand zones in like 30 seconds in an Instagram video. I don't know who understood it fully, but I taught it, right? So hopefully it's easy to learn. So we got Owen coming in. All right, so Patricia says a solid strategy, discipline and patience from Kim. Opal says, how do you know when it's the right time to enter? Sam says, when to exit. Kay says, how do you determine strike price for leaps? All right. Reese says, difference between support, resistance, and supply and demand. All right. Jay, with the understanding candlesticks. Yes, that's gonna be the first one we go into. LaKenya, Dr. LaKenya, right? What is a sign the market gives you to let you know it's a day to sit out? That's a great one. See, that's a five right there. She's a five. That's a experienced question right there. Wheezy, Cam does not have a speaker. A speaker, like a physical speaker. Let me see. How how to look for confirmation entry from Patricia. Patricia. Oh, we got some good questions. I love this. I love this. Fit says she'll screenshot the questions. All right, we got a couple more, just so everyone is aware of everyone's questions, right? We all a family here, so we just want to understand what everyone's mind is. We are not all at some advanced level. We're all learning. Robin says tighten up entries and exits. Shannon says, what's a good tip to remember candlestick patterns? Sam says, why don't you use TradingView for your classes? Because you already know why I don't use TradingView. All right. I'm sophisticated. So I gotta use my Thinkorswim. All right. So yeah, we a little sophisticated. Let me see. We're gonna add the people who came on in. How to tell a reversal. I'm about to catch a flight. Is this going to be recorded? How to determine a strong level? Great questions. Great questions. Really, really love the engagement. Could tell I'm here with a very smart crowd. All right, so that's the goal, right? With all the intelligence we have, we want to put it to use, right? We go to college and we use our abilities, right? We actually pay to use these abilities, but now we want to use these abilities to make some money for ourselves, right? And this is how you do it. All you gotta do is, right? All you gotta do is that's a joke. Me and Sam, my girlfriend, we joke because in my last job, my engineering, when it was something well, whenever they say all you got to do is, it's really something really hard, and it's never as easy as you think it's gonna be. All right, so all I gotta say is all you gotta do is start with this. All right, candlesticks. So someone said Candlesticks is what they want to learn about, and this is a great way to start. Um, why is candlesticks important? Is because this is like the ABCs, all right? It's the language of price. It's how you are financially literate in reading the stock charts. All right. Know, you can't even read this word candlesticks without knowing what A is or C or N or D, right? And you can't be able to read all of this stuff until you learn what this little one green stick is, right? And this stick is called a candlestick, right? Um, this candlestick is green and this represents the price going up. This candlestick is red and it represents the candlestick going down. All right. Now we do have some ones, twos, and threes in here, maybe some fours and fives. Um, so the level is from beginner to about intermediate. So we're not going to spend too much time. I'm just going to give you guys the foundation of what you should be studying um along the route to getting to the point where you could actually use a trading strategy. All right. So candlesticks is where you guys should start. All right. You have four pieces of information. You got the open of the candle, the close. You got the highest point and the lowest point. All right. The red is going to flip. All right. So the open's at the top instead of the bottom, and vice versa. All right. So on day one of my mentorship, I like to talk about how the stock market is a business. All right. Stocks are not companies. All right. They are stocks represented by companies. What does that mean? All right. That means that, say, if Meta or Facebook did something really good and they made some money, and their company is actually doing really well in the real world, in the stock market, the stock price could still go down. Why? Because the stock price and the company are two separate things. Yes, I know that the name of the stock is named Facebook or Meta, right? Let's call it Meta, because that's the new name of Facebook. But the stock price that you're seeing, let's take a look at this here. Let's go to the week and we're going to start a whole new John. All right. So this was NVIDIA, and this went from, yeah, 500 to about $974 this year. All right. And we're not even halfway through the year yet. So yeah, this probably isn't the best example because this company is actually doing really good and the price is actually showing it. But there's some instances when the company is doing really good, but the price of the stock is going down. And that is an opportunity, right? Like in this case, Nvidia is probably doing really good during this time, but the stock price is going down. Now, if you could spot those type of opportunities, then that would be great for investing, right? When you get to buy low and sell high. All right. Um, when COVID was happening, pretty much every single stock was going down, right? No matter how well you was doing. Some companies were actually making more money during COVID and their stock was going down, right? So it's just to prep the mindset for understanding that the stock market is this world where sometimes what is happening on the outside doesn't reflect what's happening inside the stock market, and vice versa. Some things that happen in the stock market is going crazy in the all-time new highs, but the world you look around, it's like it looks like complete disaster, you know. So that's why the stock market is fun. It's like its own video game, where you could, if you get really good at it, you pretty much have a blank check. right? And that's the goal to for all of us to one be financially literate, which starts with learning these candlesticks and get good enough so we could print our own checks whenever we want to. All right. So I'm gonna just check in to the chat and make sure that I ain't missing. All right, cool. Just let me know if I gotta slow down for anybody. But yeah, we gotta prep the mindset and understand what to expect when it comes to stocks because that's what messes a lot of people up. Our expectations, right? We come into this expecting to make $1 million next week. I know it's possible, right? It is. It is, right? But is that possibility that causes us to make irrational decisions? All right. So we have to this is one thing that I wish I had a mentor tell me. I would have saved a lot where if I understood the reality of what I'm heading into, that could have saved me from my own stubborn self and stubborn decisions. All right. So yeah, we're gonna be going through all of that in the Made mentorship. So we got 4 weeks together. All right, if you guys happen to wanna join. All right, so we got our game. Now this is my game. I say you guys gotta create your own, right? Everybody gotta create their own game. And this is why, like I said, stocks is fun. Um, no one is really wrong or right. It's like looking at art. It's based on what you observe, right? Um, it's like I compare it to being a trainer. There's not one workout that is perfect, right? Some people like to do plyometric cardio training. Some people like to do weight training. Um, some people like to do just stretching and yoga. Which is wrong, which is right. It's entirely dependent on you. But as long as you're working out, you're feeling good, right? That's what matters, right? Now in this game, what matters is that you're making money, right? The strategy, maybe you're shorting the market, making money as it's going down. Maybe you're making money as the market is going up. And there's 1,000 different ways to do that in between. Um, but the important thing is that you guys are creating the game that works for you and it's possible. So I'm gonna give you guys the key tools, key understanding that you need to get started and to eventually have the confidence to head into the market and place a trade, right? For the ones, right? For the twos, it might be a different set of challenges, right? Where you might have placed a trade and now you're realizing, okay, where do I get in? Where do I get out? Right. And then is to be able to do that with confidence. And then I heard someone say, okay, when do you stay out the market? Okay, well, it's to be able to do that with confidence. So everything is a bunch of it's a journey, right? It's a bunch of barriers in the way, but once you get through all the barriers, you're you're sitting well. That's all I can say, right? You're financially well, and you feel real good. That's all I gotta say. Going through it doesn't feel so good, right? But once you achieve your goal, whether you want to become a swing trader, right? Maybe you have a 9 to 5 and you only want to learn how to buy an option and hold it for a couple months. Maybe you're good with that, right? You're not trying to be the best. You just want to be able to catch trades like Nvidia whenever it decides it wants to go on a run, right? Or maybe you could catch something like Tesla when it's going down, right? Let's see, we got the chat. Someone says, how do you even begin to place a trade? Yeah, so when to even begin to place a trade, you got to sign up with a broker, right? A broker is someone like TD Ameritrade who is actually getting bought out by Charles Schwab, right? So you can sign up for these guys. They're a broker. Pretty much you deposit your money into a brokerage and in that account, right, this brokerage account, you're able to choose the stocks that you want to buy and hold them in that account, right? Now you buy Tesla when it's at $100 and it goes up to $300, then you just made $200 profit inside of that account. All the money's in that account. You could take that money out whenever you like. And I'm pretty sure each broker has their different rules and situations, but in a general aspect, that's how you would be able to place your trade. There's a bunch of details in between that, you know. But yeah, keeping it simple today. All right, Where's the next slide? All right, yeah, we were talking about goals and maybe, hey, you just want to be a swing trader or you want to be a day trader, right? That means you're gonna buy and sell a stock in the same day. Could be for 5 minutes, 1 hour, a couple hours. Depends on you. There's no, like I said, there's no one way to do it. You could make 30% of your money in a day trade. You can make 30% of your money over a couple weeks or months. And you could do that same thing over years and decades. It's up to you, right? It depends on the stock you choose. This depends on the entry that you get in, where you exit. And like I said, the stock market is customizable, right? To you. It's up to you. You don't have to day trade, right? I know everyone's like, I don't have the time. I don't. It's cool, right? You could place a swing trade and don't look at it for maybe days or weeks or months, right? Or maybe that's even too risky for you, right? Investing, right? You just invest and don't even look at it for how many ever years. All right. So that's that. Time frames. Now, time frames, like I said, I'm gonna go through this a little pretty quick just because we're gonna get into some of my trading strategies and some of the business model. All right. So each time frame, what do I mean by time frames? Now, let's go back to a different drawing. All right, time frame. So this is the 1 week time frame. This means that every candle represents 1 week. All right. So 2024, this was the first week of January, second week, third week, and then we went into February right here, and then we went into March, so on and so on. Now, when this green candle started, we was at 493 at the beginning of the week. At the end of the week, we was at 553. You can see by the side right there. And if I switch the time frame, that means that these candles will no longer represent 1 week. They're going to represent 1 day. All right. So now it looks a little bit more choppy, a little bit more weird because we're seeing more details. Now this is just 1 day, 1 day, 1 day, 1 day instead of 1 week. Then I can go even lower, get more details, and I can say I want to see by the hour. Now it's starting to look a little bit crazy. All right. So each candle represents 1 hour, and you could go as low as 5 minutes, 1 minute. I took a day trade on Nvidia and I got in at about 2:30. Yeah, I think 2:30 right here. From here to here was 45%. Right. It went from 895 to $900. That's about, yeah, almost $5 on Nvidia. And I made 45. Well, right? If you guys in the chat, the Discord, we made 45% on our money in just about less than an hour, right? And on a bigger scale, when I entered yesterday and exited today, we made 266% from 855 to about 890, right? So 266%, what does that mean? If you put in $100, then you would have seen $366, I believe. Don't quote me. But um just to put it in simple terms, that's what 266% profit would look like. All right. Obviously, if you put in more than $100, then you would have seen a lot more. All right. You could put in one contract for $100, or you could double it and put two contracts. All right. And when I say contracts, I'm talking about options, right? Which is a whole nother class, but I do teach everything that I'm talking about in workshops, right? Each workshop it's a low cost on my website, tradingwithcam.com. But we cover the whole options course and the charting course with the candles, um, how to analyze the market. We're gonna get into that next, and also how to find momentum, which is gonna correlate with what Dr. Kenya asked. She asked how to know when to stay out the market, right? Which is key, right? Everyone wants to trade, but you got to know when not to trade. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna head back to the slides, PowerPoint, and see where we are. Okay, so that's time frames, candlesticks, key levels. All right, so now we're getting into the twos, right? Some of the novice. All right, so key levels. This is what I like to use. I like to use my highs, lows, support and resistance, supply and demand, and moving averages. So what does this mean? We're going to start with support and resistance. All right, we are going to go to our weekly chart. So when I say go to our weekly chart, that means I'm going to the chart that represents 1 week for every candle, right? If I take just one candle, it represents the week. So this candle represents this week. All right. This one candle represents from Monday to Friday. This candle represents Monday to Friday from last week. This one represents Monday through Friday for the week before. All right. Now this is the highest point that we ever reached within this entire chart. So since that's the highest point, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw a line. I'm gonna call that line, since at the highest point, I'm gonna call it resistance. Think of this as a ceiling, right? If everyone is indoors right now, you probably have a ceiling above you. So if you try to jump up and jump through the ceiling, what do you think will happen? Probably gonna hit your head on the wall and come back down. And you could see that if you have this ceiling drawn out and the price came up towards that ceiling, you could have made money by betting the price would come down. Why? Because there's a ceiling right there, right? There's a ceiling. If you didn't draw the ceiling, then you would have no idea, right? We could, right? You'd be going up and you'd be like, what ceiling? This is gonna go to 1,000, maybe 2,000, right? But when you learn the art of drawing, right, you now start to see what is happening in the market. You see that the price is going up, but, right, the big but, it's going up into a resistance level, right? And at resistance levels is where the price likes to reverse and go down. Now, this same candle, seeing that that was the very top of the candle and it was called a resistance, this was the very bottom of the candle. And notice we didn't go lower. We actually came down and we actually pushed on up, right? This was the lowest point. So we're gonna call this support. Why? Because price came down all the way down to about 830. All right. Well, it says 834, and 834 was the price level that supported the price so it could go up. So that means that if price ever got to 834 again, it's
To help us.
highly likely that this level will act as support. Why? Because it did it before, right? So this is the concept of the stock market or trading, or call it technical analysis, right? What we're doing
Why they gotta have
is
fancy
called
words?
technical analysis, right? We're analyzing the technicals, which is the price of stocks, right? How stocks move. So, like we said, this is our support. Now, if price happened to ever come down to this level, we should expect it to support the price
How you
and
playing? You
do
told
the
me
same
about
thing it did
you.
before, which is go
Mm-hmm.
up. And if you take a look
What
at
is that gonna say?
what the price did today, it did exactly just that. And you could have made money if you drew your lines, right? So I'm going to tell you guys, I have a degree in electronic engineering and mathematics. I hardly use, well, I guess I don't know. I think I don't hardly use it um that much, but I would tell you that stocks isn't much math, right? It's more geometry, right? You're just drawing a bunch of lines. And if it gets to your lines, you should have a plan on what you're going to do, right? So I just gave you guys a strategy. If you're able to locate the lows of some candles, right? Some highs of some candles, those could be your resistance and support levels where you can expect price to do something, and that something is either going to be, hey, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down, and you can make money off of that. All right. At support levels, we learned that price has a high chance of reversing at the bottom and a high chance of reversing at the top. So there you go. All right. So we got a question. Do does support and resistance occur within the same candle? Ah, so this one here, it looks like this this is the answer to your question, where this created a support and created a resistance in that same candle. Um, but let me see if you asked the question another way, where you're saying that if another candle came out of nowhere, right, the next candle, could that touch support and resistance at the same time? And yes, it can, for sure, definitely could. Next week, the candle could open up here. It could go all the way down to 830 and then go all the way back up to 974 in 1 week. Totally. All right. Cool. So we're gonna keep it moving, right? So support and resistance is one level. Now you guys might be looking at this blue line, like, hey, I noticed we didn't only just bounce off that support level from the price. We actually bounced at this other blue line. I don't know what it is. Well, this blue line is called a moving average, right? So this is like home base for
Tell him
price.
come here. Tell him
When
come
it
take him
goes
back.
off and it does its thing,
How he get hit in the eye?
eventually it runs out of steam and it's like, gotta catch my breath,
What happened?
right? I gotta catch my breath.
What
And
he
when it
do?
catches its breath, it likes to get
What he
some
do?
fuel at the
What he
moving
do to his
average. So
eye?
the moving average is an average of the last couple candles. So this is the 9 moving average. This is the 50 moving average. The 9 takes a sample of the last one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles. And it says, what's the average of all those candles? And it just plots it within a line. So every 9 candles is giving you a new average, right? So this line also acts as a support level, right? So not only do you have horizontal price levels as support, but you also have this diagonal moving average that is always moving to help support the price, all right? Or it can act as resistance if it's above the price, all right? So there's a lot of ways you could use this moving average, but just because the price is above it means that we are bullish. And I know for the beginners, bullish means we have a great chance at moving up, right? Bearish means we have a great chance at moving down. All right. So that's some stock market 101 terminology. All right. The difference between bulls and bears. In this case, we had two bullish factors. We had this support here level telling us if price ever gets down here, we have a good chance at bouncing and going up. And we also have this moving average, the 9 EMA, telling us the same thing. If price ever gets down to this level, then we got a good chance of moving on up. So that actually doubled the probability of us making some money. So this is what made this a high probability trade. If it was only one blue line telling us, then it would have been a decent trade, but you know, you probably wouldn't have bet your house on it, right? Now, if you see something like this, you see Cam call it out in the chat, then it's like, all right, yeah, we should increase our risk on this because this is a high probability trade. Um, let me make sure. Okay, let me make sure everyone is good in the chat. Someone said you guys are saying mute. You guys are saying mute. Am I good? Do I have to mute anybody?
Sounds like they're muted now.
Ah, cool. Appreciate that. All right, so let me see. Chanel says, why did you use that specific bottom wick as support? This specific one. So in my charting class or the charting workshop, I talk about on the weekly time frame, these candles are so strong that each candle could act as a support and resistance just by itself, right? Just by itself. So I could draw a line of support on every single one of these, right? But do I want to pay attention to the ones that's all the way down here right now at 584? Not really, because the price is all the way at 900, right? So I'll be wasting some energy focusing all the way down here. So I really just want to focus on what levels are local, right? Because those are what's most relative to me right now. Why? Because the price, that's where the price was, this week. It was literally at this level. So I just look to the left and see, okay, what levels of support do we have in this area? If the price was down here and I looked to the left, I would have maybe looked at this level of support. Or if it was down here, I would have looked left and seen if it was at this support. So it's really dependent on where price is right now. You should draw levels on, try to draw as much as you can, without wasting too much of your energy. But you just want to be prepared, right? This one I drew at the top because we are in an uptrend and we could be heading up to this next level. All right. So I know I skipped a lot of basics, right? Because we do have to describe that, hey, this is a trend. This is called an uptrend. And the uptrend is characterized by two main things, right? Higher highs and higher lows. All right. So what is a high and what is a low? All right. So if you guys see that these are waves, sometimes we're going up, sometimes we're going down. Sometimes we're going up, sometimes we're going down. Depends on the day, depends on the week, right? Now, we don't only just want to look at this and say, oh, this is squiggly, squiggly, right? We could actually start to define what's going on and start having some understanding and then potentially make some money from this stuff, right? Because if you know the trend is down, then you can make money going down. And if you know the trend is up, then you can make some money as the trend is going up. So knowing the trend is very important, right? Now, just like any trend, sometimes the trend changes, right? So at the change, right, of these trends from an uptrend to a downtrend, you're gonna have a turning point. And those we call them highs. All right. If I just draw a high at the highest point, all right, that was the highest point of this entire uptrend. And then we went down. We turned, we went down, and we came all the way down to this point here. And then we turned again. So this point is called the low, right? So we got a high and we got a low, and then we went up, right? This was the highest point of this trend. And then we turned again. So notice that anytime I'm drawing these lines, these highs and lows, these are resistance, support, resistance, right? Support. And that is how we could make sense of all this squiggle squiggle, right? Start seeing where the highest points and the lowest points are every time it goes up and down, and just draw a line, right? Because that's gonna be the foundation for your trading strategies. And those trading strategies is how we make money, right? So the better you're at, the better you are at drawing these levels is the more confident you could be stepping into the market with your pajamas and making some money on any day. Well, I mean, not to say on any day. You gotta, like Dr. LaKenya said, you gotta learn when not to trade, right? Because actually, you could make money by not trading, right? Um, just by not losing money, you're actually making money in the long run, right? If you ever decided, hey, I just took Cam's course, I'm ready now. And you're gonna go and deposit your money into a brokerage and you're gonna maybe force a trade because you don't really understand what's going on. Yeah, that could end a little bad because you just got to know when the market is ready, when the market is ripe. It's like growing fruits in your backyard or something, right? You got some mangoes or something, which sounds good. I actually would like to have a mango tree, but you don't really want to pick it before it's ready, right? That's with the market. You want to know when is the right time, right? Say if you knew, hey, this is a resistance level. I want to make money as it's coming down. So you want to wait till it gets to this resistance, right? Before you short the market. So when I say short, short means you're making money as it's going down, right? You're entering the market to make money as it's going down. All right. But what if you didn't wait, maybe let's say maybe you entered here, then you would have been losing. And then maybe you was like, all right, I'm out. And then it works in your favor, you know. So you gotta wait for the market or the price to reach your levels. And that's where the patience and discipline comes into play. Great question. Wait, Alexandra said, Cam, you can't hear us. Your speaker is off. Yeah, let me see. I have my If you guys wanna speak, just let me know. Just in case I'm not hearing anything. But yeah, just type it in the chat. All right, cool. Great questions, right? We got Jay with the higher lows, right? Very good question because this is how we're able to know if we're in an uptrend, downtrend, or not going anywhere, right? We call that ranging. So in this case, let's find a different setup. Setup means whatever we're looking at. And I know some people who hears that word now is we don't think about it, but when I was starting to learn trading, I didn't understand what setup means. Like, what do you guys mean setup? Like, oh, this is my favorite setup. So setup means how the market is looking right now or the position the market is in. A setup could be an uptrend and we are above this blue line, right? A different setup could be we are in a downtrend and under the blue line, right? So you could find this same setup at another time at some point. Look, downtrend under the blue line, right? Downtrend under the blue line. And you could find similarities versus a different setup. So what your goal is to recognize your setup, and your setup could be based off of support, resistance, moving averages, other things we haven't talked about like support and sorry, supply and demand, trend lines, right? It's so much things, right? So much things. Um, like I said, we could use, you know, like these are all a couple things I'm gonna go over in my mentorship. And I know we only have a few, mm, probably like an hour. I'll say we got a good little bit of hour left. I know you guys got to go to bed, but we got a few minutes to go over some of these key points and then show you some strategies, um, a business model for what I like to set goals. So I want to leave you guys here with some goals that you could set for yourself. Um, just so we have a ballpark of understanding of what's next. What could we do with this? Right? This all this stuff just sounds fancy. I get it, but what can I actually do? Right? And I'm here to help you guys. All right. So yesterday, someone says yesterday when the market was closed, you said SPY was flagging. Can you show us that? Thanks. All right. So I'm gonna try to come back to that question. That is experienced. Good question. Let me see. I'm gonna try to get through some of the basics. Let's start with the highs and lows. I know someone just asked. Yeah, all right. So we just went over the highs and lows. So you can see that's a high, that's a low, any turning point. And then they asked about the higher highs, higher lows. All right. This would be where the trend comes in, right? Higher highs tells you it's an uptrend. Higher lows also tells you it's an uptrend. Right? That's a perfect uptrend because the highs are getting higher and the lows are getting lower. Now, in a downtrend, it's opposite. You got lower highs and lower lows. Right? These lows are getting lower. In a sideways trend, then it's equal. Right? So I know the candles, they look intimidating and everything, but look, this is what you could do. Just start drawing stuff. Right? Start drawing. You could do even a little. You do even like a little circle. Look, that's a low, that's a high, you know? And maybe, it gets confusing a little bit because you think, okay, this is a high, and then this is a low, which it is, and then this is a high, and then this is a low. And then you're like, okay, I don't know which one is the higher one, and which one is the lower one. And it's okay because there's highs and lows within the highs and lows, right? And it's okay because you're gonna start to be able to differentiate which are the ones you should pay attention to the most. All right. Yes, they are highs and lows, but maybe there's certain times where you should pay attention to other ones for certain reasons. All right. And that's, like I said, we're gonna teach more about how to read these highs and lows. But this is the basics, right? If you guys are able to see where the highs, let me see. Look, this is the high and this is a low. This is a huge wave, right? Then you're gonna start to be able to see the trend. right? I'll say this is a low, and then this is a high. It's a low. That's a high. This is low. So notice this is a low, 830. We went all the way up, but then we came all the way down. Market was like, oh my gosh, we're crashing. This is a huge candle. We're gonna crash because we went up so high. But then we got to 841, and everyone's like, all right, let me sell my positions because we're obviously gonna go down. But take a look. Let me zoom in, right? Because you guys learned enough to already see what's happening in this picture, right? We came all the way down, but this is the previous low at 830, right? We're at 840. We are still higher than this low. So that means by the concepts that we just learned about the trend, a higher low is is an uptrend. Higher high, right? This high, higher than this one, is an uptrend. So being that we just made a higher high, the next time we get down to this low, right, we could expect it to reverse. So while everyone's going, everyone is panicking, because you've done your work of drawing and reading the candles and reading the trend, you understand that, hey, this is actually a great position to buy because we're in an uptrend. And how could you have more confidence in believing that? Well, you actually have this yellow line, which is a moving average. This is the 50 EMA. 50 is different than the 9 because it takes the last 50 candles instead of the last 9 candles as an average of what the price is doing, right? So remember, this is just the average of what the price is doing. This is the 50. This is more stronger than the 9 because it's taking a bigger sample size, right? So you have this yellow line, which is very strong. You have this previous low, which is very strong. This is called confluence when you have two things at the same exact spot telling you the same thing. And if you would have took advantage of this opportunity at about say 850, you would have made some good money about 930 something, right? So yeah, this is an uptrend and the price could continue trending. So let's see where are we now? 840 was the previous low. Okay. And then we came down to 850 and then you made a new high up to 9 something. So just using this simple uptrend by locating where the previous lows are, you see price came here. Let me draw this better. Right? Every time it gets to the lows, you had money, you had an opportunity to make money as the market comes up. All right. So now we're gonna get into a little bit of the trading strategies. All right, just because I want to leave some of the threes here with some knowledge of what I do. All right. And then we'll get into some of the money. All right. So this is week one of my mentorship. Go over the basics. We just learn the foundation and then we just go in with the trading strategies. Yup, trading strategies. Chart analysis, multi-time frame analysis means that we should be looking at all time frames before we make a trade. That means we look at the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, right? Um, when the price is trending, right? When the price is trending, notice it pushes and it pulls back, right? Let's take a look at this trend. This is a nice clean trend here. But notice we didn't just go straight up, right? We actually pushed up, pulled back, pushed up, pulled back, pushed up, pulled back. So if hey, we're looking at it. This is a trend. If we know it does the same thing over and over and over, then what's the best way to play this? If we know it's pushing up and it's pulling back, we could have a strategy where we're going to catch this next move up, right? So all we got to do is wait for that pullback and enter. All right. So this is going to answer a couple people's questions on where do you enter? Where do you enter? Well, if you guys if it didn't go over you guys' head, I kind of gave you two places where to enter already, right? One place is the moving averages. Look at that. Uh-huh. The 9 EMA. Very good location to enter the market if we're in an uptrend. Right. So now you're starting to connect the dots, right? If we're in an uptrend, then we should be expecting the market to push and pull back, right? If we want to catch that next push, the best spot to get in is the bottom of that pullback. Now, the bottom of that pullback, usually it pulls back to this 9 EMA, this blue line. And this happens over and over and over, right? Sometimes more than others, and it depends on the time frame. But I'm going to show you what we did today. All right. This is we're going to take a deep dive into the Discord. All right. So after Nvidia. So this was Nvidia's trade yesterday, right? Well, the day before, like I said, SPY. It's been a big week, right? SPY was up 145% the day before. And then we hopped into a Nvidia trade, but 65 cents, right? This is an option, right? It's a call option, which means we're betting the price will go up. This is the date it expires. It expires this week. This is the strike price that we're aiming. Well, this contract is pretty much programmed to hit 917.50. We don't have to wait for it to hit 917.50 to make money because if this trade is working, you'll be making money as it's heading to that target. So notice in this picture, right? I posted this when it was at 860 something, 861. And this was, let me see, it was at 943. And at 958, it was up 125%. Sounds kind of crazy, right? But let's see what that looks like. So this was that move. Once 861, you can see that at the side. And 958, I believe that was right here, 125%. When it got to about 870. So you can see in just a 10, less than $10 move, you can make 100% of your money. What that means, if you put $1,000 in, you make $1,000 back. If you put $100 in, you make $100 back in this amount of time. All right. So that was right yesterday. But notice I said scale out. I didn't say take profit. All right. Now the next morning or the next day, uh, we actually went up to 895 and we went up even more. Right. Let me look. This is overnight. And this is the next day. We woke up and it said, yeah, we're ready for more. And it kept on going up, kept on going up. And eventually I said, take profit, TP. We up 266%. We good. All right, that's it. And most people will say, yeah, yeah, it's good. Go home. Take a rest. You did good today, Cam. Right? I'm like, nah, right? Because I see more opportunity on Nvidia, right? So I'm practicing what I'm preaching, right? I'm seeing multiple opportunities on the same setup. So let's see if I could pull up the same drawing that I had earlier so I could show you the demand zone that I used. All right. So after I got out, it was about right here. So we wrote it all the way from yesterday, this entire trend. Somebody did ask how to hold your trade longer. Now, if you take a look at this blue line, notice it held it as support held that support there. Got a little wacky here, but notice this other blue line held that as support. Notice this low, it didn't break that. It's still uptrend, and we're trickling on up, trickling on up. Um, Long story short, after I got out here, I decided to draw this demand zone, right? Which is a good area of support. What do I mean by that? Take a look at these candles, right? See how the candle came down and back up? It came down and back up. These wicks represent the price going down and back up, right? If the wick, this little small needle looking thing, if it goes up to the top and comes back down, that means the price tried to go up, but it came back down, right? And I guess I explain a lot more in my charting workshop about the candles. So yeah, check that out. If anything, or join the mentorship for May. All right, so this is a demand zone reversal. You could draw demand zones on the 5 minute, the 1 hour, the daily, the weekly. It doesn't matter. It works the same, right? And like I said, I could have been done for the day, but I noticed this is a hot stock. We still have momentum. There's chip stocks are moving. The SPY is moving. Nvidia is a leader in the sector. It's been on a crazy pullback this entire past week or two, and we're pushing up. But not only are we pushing up, right? We are pushing up off of the 9 EMA. There you go, right? That level of support. How do you hold your trades longer? This this 9 EMA should be in your toolkit, right? So that is a big key for why I held, how I held. But let's get back to the trade. So we seen this demand zone and decided to enter, and this is where this came from. Nvidia call. This one was for 96 cents. That means you're paying $96 to get into this trade. And this was at 2:58 p.m. and at 3:42 p.m. we're up 45%. Told everyone take a profit. We out, right? At 3:42, let's see what happened. At 3:42, 3:42. Yep. So yeah, we took this from here to there, which it's about 5, 6 bucks, 5, 6 bucks, maybe seven. So you don't need that much, right? You don't need to get this whole entire trend. You don't need half the trend. All you need is a small little piece. Give me $1 or two, right? And you be good with 20, 30%, right? You don't need 45 all the time. You don't need 260% all the time. But if you have a job, and you have a plan where, hey, I just want to make a decent percent on my trades, take our money and go home, you know, that's something that we should be building for our game plan, right? For consistency. And that's what I want to talk about. How do we have consistency in the market, right? How are we able to stay profitable? And why isn't more people profitable after trying this and learning all of this candlestick stuff, right? And the biggest answer is going to be the mindset, right? Is going to be the self-awareness, is going to be the focus, is going to be the habit building, the deprogramming, the reprogramming. So that's all the stuff that you don't hear about. But in my mentorship, we're definitely going, that's what we focus on the most, on top of our trading strategies, because I could teach you guys this in a week, right? I'm pretty sure you guys have learned harder stuff, right? Um, I'm 100% sure everyone in here, I I could help you guys learn this a lot quicker than you think. The challenge, right, will be yourself, right? It will be your own mind, it will be your own emotions. And that I can also help you with, but it's only something that you could work through yourself, right? Just like going to the gym, you can hire a personal trainer to help you, but you yourself is gonna have to do those reps. All right. So the same thing here, where I'm very confident in my ability to teach and um, help guide. At the end of the day, I'm not going to steer you in a direction or set you up for something that you don't want, right? And just knowing that, hey, this is gonna take work. You actually have to draw your lines, right? For some people, that's already that's already a no deal, right? Because that means you actually have to sit here and focus. There's some people who don't actually want to focus. They think trading is just, okay, I think this is gonna go up. Let me enter and I have 10K in the morning. Well, this does take a little bit of work, right? So I think just having the right expectations that this does require you to read, right? I hated reading growing up, but if it's for some money, shoot, I'll take a crack at it, right? I'll dedicate some of my time and energy to learn how to read so I can make some money, right? I think I heard someone, I think it was Ian Dunlap. He said something about how much time you spend on Instagram, and we're reading a book a day. If you counted all the words and the content, everything that we watch and listen to on Instagram, we're pretty much almost reading a book a day. So we're reading. We're always reading something. We're listening to something. And I'm just saying is spend some of that time, some of the time, that energy, that focus into learning how to read these candlesticks because whether it's a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it's gonna come in handy, right? It's gonna be someone at Thanksgiving dinner talking about, oh, this stock or this and that. And you could be that person, just pull out your phone and say, yeah, this is where I got in. And not just say, oh, I just because I heard a tip, you say, well, you got in because you seen that this is a low right here, right? So you knew this was a good price, right? This here was a low, price came down, seen that little double bottom. You was like, okay, been getting because it's above that 9 EMA, right? You got that volume, we in an uptrend. I could tell you a bunch of random stuff, but you get the point. So yeah, this is fun for me if you guys haven't noticed. You know, the goal for me was to get to the point where I could actually understand these squiggly lines and yeah, it's to the point where I don't have to think as much anymore. I just subconsciously see stuff. The same way how when you started driving, it didn't click all the way. You had to think about the mirror, think about your seatbelt, think about this. Eventually, when you do it more and more, it just clicks. All right. So let me check the chat and see if you guys got any questions. All right. Yeah, the nine. Yeah, the nine EMA. So are you only bullish above 50? So a challenge I volunteer as tribute. Dang, what was I talking about with the challenge? Y'all know my brain be easy E. Okay, teaching. Oh yeah, 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 teaching. Yeah, yeah, we got making us master it. Yes. We want everyone to master. That's my goal. That's my goal. Let me let me not be all boring. But yeah, that's my goal for everyone to master their analysis, right? Technical analysis. That's what we're learning. All right, so strategies. I showed you guys my reversal strategy off of demand. I showed you guys my pullback strategy using 9 EMAs. I showed you my reversal strategies using support, right? If you draw a support, right? Let's see. Oh, I didn't show you guys a range breakout. So now, let's see if I can find a good one or what was moving today. So this is what it looks like to be in my office. I'm watching four stocks on one screen, and I could just swipe and see another four stocks. All right. You got ARM, MU, NVIDIA, AMD, right? I could just zoom in and see what's going on today. All right. It's like my security cameras. And we got Tesla, AVGO, Netflix, SMCI, right? So I watch all these every day. So if you think about, we just look at one setup and we found I took three trades off of NVIDIA today, right? Off of one stock. And you see all these other stocks, right? This shows you how much opportunity there is in the market. You pick and choose. Look, Tesla went up crazy today. Netflix, all these are opportunities. And if you look, they're above the 9 EMA, above the 90. This one, look, bow. Big old candle off that 9 EMA from 157 all the way up to 159. Look at that, Google. If anybody's watching YouTube tonight, just know you could have made money off of Google from 157.80 to 159.68, right? So if you're on YouTube, you should be learning or Googling what's a good trading strategy for the 9 EMA. But you don't got to do that, right? Because I could just send you this recording, right? I could just send you this recording. I got you. If you guys want to know more, if you really want to make some money off of this and understand this, um, of course, yes, you could learn anywhere, but we have a 4 week mentorship in May coming up, right? Where I'm gonna be talking about this almost every day, right? So just think about it. By the time June comes, you could be proficient in learning how to talk about this and how to make money from this. And actually, God willing, make money from this during that mentorship. All right. Let's take a look at the questions. Let's look at the chat because I'm gonna get into the trading strategies a little bit more. So, Bree says, "How are you determining the number and not in EMA?" So 9 means it moves a little bit faster, right? Because it's taking the sample size of every 9 candles, right? 50 it moved a little bit slower, right? Notice this yellow line. It's not as squiggly up and down. It does move, but notice the price hasn't reached there in a long time. So this is more smooth, laid back, but it's strong, right? Like the roots of a tree, right? The tree stump. This is like the branches, like the 9 EMA. It's flowing. Um, so you want a fast one and a slow one. You want to know, you want to be able to keep up with the price when the market is moving, right? Nvidia was moving today, right? So if you only had a strategy to wait for the price to get to the 50 EMA, then you would have missed out on all this good action, right? So um I understand well, the way I set up my trading is to be in flow, right? I'm not trying to beat the market. I don't know more than what the market knows. I'm just trying to be in the right place at the right time, right? If the market wants to move crazy today, I want to be there, right? If the market doesn't want to move crazy, want to be a little more laid back, I want to be able to recognize that and to lay back, not trade, which is what Dr. Kenya was telling us earlier. How do you tell when not to trade? All right. I'm gonna give you a quick answer on that. And if the market is still within the range, aka inside of the previous high and low, right? Then we probably shouldn't trade. Um, it's one of the factors that could tell you that is less likely to move. So notice this high right here. Notice this low. So we could say that this entire space here from the high to the low is the range. Notice, yes, we went to the top, but we chopped up like crazy this whole day. I mean, most of the day. It wasn't until we broke this box, aka the range, until we started flowing, right? So we could use that as a good foundation for when we could expect price to not do as much. And if we don't expect price to do as much, then we probably shouldn't be doing as much, right? When the price does break the range, then we could expect something to happen, right? Think about the price like a lion and it's inside this cage and it's just like, it ain't doing nothing. It can't attack. It can't eat no one when it's inside the cage. But when the lion is out the cage, it's a wrap. It's coming for everybody, right? That's why I got swings on video. The line is loose. The line is loose. I'm gonna just extend this. I want to see where it goes. Oh, that's a high point. Where did we get that from? This came from this line, this pattern. Someone did ask about patterns earlier. I think it was about how to identify candlestick patterns or candle patterns. Um, a good way to do that is recognize your highs and lows, right? Most of these patterns come off of, well, they're formed based on your highs and lows. Draw the trend lines, and that's going to give you a good foundation for patterns. So this one, it looks like a bear flag, right? So flags look like that's the pole, and it goes up and down, and this here's a flag, right? What happens is whenever it breaks that trend line, expect price to go down, which it fell down crazy, all right? Now, this is where the psychology or reverse psychology comes in because I feel like this was on purpose to get everyone thinking the price will continue going down. So I'm gonna just draw this. I'm gonna just draw this support. See how well my idea is. 'Cause I think they was gonna push it back up, right? This is, like I said, this was a little too easy for me. I don't really like the easy moves too much. I'll take it for a scout, but it just came straight down. So, oh, look at that. Someone said Mr. OJ. That's the whole top news right there. All right, so it came down. Yeah, and it came down again, right? Two moves in a row. And I'm just like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I feel like there's a fake out. And then there we are. So we're sitting on top of this whole flag right now. And we're gonna see if we got some continuation because I think we have a lot of fuel in the market from all these shorters, right? A lot of people ready. When you see some hard moves down here, it's hard not to not sell, and it's hard not to want to not get puts. All right. So when you guys start drawing your highs and lows, right, trend lines, you could start seeing where the break of structure is happening, which gives you a heads up for the trend shifting or continuing. All right. Let's see. Um, in terms of in terms of making money, right? In terms of making money, I think that's what a lot of us actually care about, right? Because the stock market is like a party for a bunch of people who want to make a lot of money, right? Who come to the stock market to not make money, right? So, how can we get into this market, into this game, and actually leave with some money, more money in our pockets? Because it's very simple to come into the game with some money, but it's to walk out the game with more money is the goal, right? And if you could do that on a consistent basis, that's even better. And if you could do that on default mode or unconscious mode or just like I said, yeah, what do you call that? Just be unconscious with it, which means it's part of who you are, right? It's a lifestyle. Then that's even better, right? It's like I always compare it to working out, right? people, we all know we should be exercising. We should be working out. But it always doesn't feel good, right? So the goal is for working out, exercise to not have to be something we're fighting. Because if we have to fight every day, we wake up, it's going to be stressful. So we want it to be more of a lifestyle, which means we have to program our mindset to be able to accept that as a lifestyle, right? But it takes some work, right? The first couple of days is gonna suck, but eventually it's not gonna suck because you're like, oh, this is just what I do. And the same thing with trading is, yeah, it sucks. It sucks when you don't know. Like, who wants to do something or continue to do something where they feel like they don't know enough? But that's the point. You know, we don't know enough, so that's why we should be learning more, right? And in this field, when you learn more, you actually get paid more. And you're the one who writes your paycheck, not someone else. Right. So this is the blueprint that I have for anyone starting out, right? Coming into the market, and you don't want to go for like some crazy home runs. You just want to get your feet wet. You know, maybe you just learned a trading strategy, you know, and you're like, hey, I actually want to do this. Let me take this serious. Right. Now, what you could do, whatever amount of money you start out with, whether it's 500, 1,000, 2,000, if you got big money, you can put in more, but I don't really recommend more than 2,000 if you're just starting out. Um, I also recommend paper trading, which means you could actually trade without putting any money up at all. You could trade this live action and just get some practice under your belt, right? I highly recommend doing that, right? And let's say you start out with $1,000, right? The thing with options allows you low cost opportunities to get into the market, but also make great percentages, right? So let's say if you get an option with your $1,000 account, you choose an option for $1, which you'll be paying $100. All right. So out of your $1,000, you took 10% of that, which is $100. All right. Now that $100, um, you could aim for 20 to 30%. Right. That will be 20 to 30 bucks. All right. If you take one trade a day, 20 to 30%, let's say 20%, right? Let's go for the low end. Right. I just showed you guys a 226% trade and a 45% trade in the same day. And I had another trade. But I'm swinging it. Don't know the results of that one yet, so can't really talk about it much. But that yeah, you could 20% very doable. You learn these methods, you learn how to read, you learn where to get in, where to get out, how to know when to trade, when not to trade. It's gonna take some work, but once you get there, right, 20% is very doable, right? If you could do one trade, 20%, right? And there's gonna be some days, hey, you might take two trades or three trades. There's gonna be some days you might take a loss, right? Maybe you took three trades, right? You won 20%, you lost 20%, and then you won 20%. Well, you're still net profit 20%, right? So let's say your net profit is 20% Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Then 5 days times your 10%, it's 50%. All right. So 50, that 50% adds up to your original position size, which is $100. All right. So we said that you started out with $1,000. You you put $100 on a trade and you're taking out 20%, which is $20. All right. If you made $20 5 days in a row, 5 days, For the week, that's $100. And you could throw in your losses, throw in all that. We're just saying 20% net profit. Like I said, which is very doable. Um, $100. So you at the end of the week, you just made 10% of your account, and there's 4 weeks in a month. So 4 times 10%, that's 40%. All right. 40% of your account, which is $1,000, is $400. So what am I saying? Is that you start the month with 1,000 and you end the month with 1,400, right? You making 40% on the month by you deciding to take 20% profit on each individual trade, which, like I said, is very doable. Some days you'll make a lot more, right? You'll make 100%, right? Sometimes you'll lose a little bit more. You might lose, let's say 50%, right? But the goal, remember, is net profit at the end of the day, right? There's different business models. Some people only like to lose 10% and they like to take 10% profit. Some people like to lose 50% and take 50% profit, right? It's based on your personality, your business model, how you like to frame your business. And like I said, everyone has to create their own game, all right? Their own trading business. And as a coach, that's what I help do. I help people structure their trading business, the trading mindset, the trading strategy, their risk management, and their understanding to make sure that they could make money consistently. All right. So yeah, that was an example of having a target, having a goal, right? Not trying to come in here and make double your account in a day or double your account in a week. Is to say, hey, we're learning these skills, and even though we could make 50, 100%, 200%, we're saying, we get it. It might not come every day, but what we do know that could come every day is a good 20% trade, right? If you look at all these stocks, right, we could find a 20% trade, right? And if we could get really good at that, then we have ourselves a blank check. All right. Because once you get good at doing the basic stuff, then to make more money is literally to add on another digit and do the same thing with the same amount of work, with the same strategy, same risk management. All right. You could switch up your risk management, make it a little bit tighter so you're taking less risk as you're making more money, right? Maybe you don't want to bet 10% of your position when you have $100,000 on the line, right? Maybe you want to put it less, and it's totally fine. But like I said, as long as you understand what you have to play with, what the goal is, how this is possible, yeah, this is very possible. And you could, like I said, you don't have to go for 10%. I mean, 20, you could do 10. I've seen people do 5% profits. Um, Very, 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 very doable. So yeah, let me see if you guys got any questions in the chat. So, am I using multiple monitors? Nope. One laptop. I have multiple desktops on this one laptop. Paper trading the way. Dr. D's in the building. Pause. Let me see. Is that a bow flag pattern? Is that a bow flag pattern on NVIDIA? Let's see. Let's see. Bow flag. Let's see. Let me make sure which time frame. Are we aligned? Are we aligned on the same time frame? It's my lady's Zoom account. All good. All good, man. Let me see. Oh, it's Dane. What up, man? Dang, man. Dane was there for the very first mentorship. It's crazy. Dame is the OG. Dang, your lady's a doctor, man. You a successful man. All right, let me see. Bull flag pattern on NVIDIA. I feel like we was on a lower time frame, so let me just make sure I answer that question. Looks like my computer is slowing down a little bit. Bull flag. Mm, I'm not sure when you ask that question, and there's honestly probably a few bull flags. Like there's one here. There's one here, and you could say there's one here, which flag broke out right there. So hard to really say. But yeah, how you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling? I don't want to ramble or anything, but let me know how you guys are feeling. And I do have we do have two spots open for the May mentorship. I didn't forget, right? I didn't forget. All right, so we're gonna do. Let me see. Will I send out the slideshow after the masterclass? Probably not. This one is a slideshow from my workshops. Yeah. But I'll send out the recording. I'll see. I might put one separate one together. If I do, because these are slides from different workshops. Thank you, Patricia. Appreciate you. Let me see. Blew my account, not taking 30%. There you go. This is a reality, right? Dame, I'm glad you said that because this is the reality is this is what happens when you don't take your 20-30% profits, right? And this is the real story of how a lot of people they learn the technical analysis, right? So we're like, oh, you know what you're talking about. So you should be making money. But that's not always the case because that's where you trading it introduces you to a deeper side of who you are, where you start to see some of your greed and your fears start to rise from your subconscious into your actions, right? It's always been there. It just never been tickled enough for you to see it. And in trading, you're going to start to see that you set these simple instructions for yourself. And for some particular reason, we just can't seem to get it done. And we look back and we're like, wait, that was so simple. How did we not do that? And it's like a revolving door of doing the same thing over and over until we become aware of this cycle and we have to reprogram the right habits. All right. So the whole issue with the 20-30% is one, it's a high probability percentage where we'll be right and we could take that money while we are right and leave with some money, right? If we hold it, right? If we don't take the money and it goes up to maybe, well, let me say if it doesn't go up, but if you risk, right, our position more than 30%, right? Maybe we want to make 40, 50, 60%, then we risk the position going down to 25, 20, 15, 10, negative 5%, negative, right? So to make a decision to hold for more profit is also a decision to accept the risk of you losing the profit you already have. All right. And that's a tough thing for most people to grasp, to mentally grasp, I could say from a cognitive standpoint, we could really only focus on one or two things at a time. So, especially in trading, we become like tunnel vision to a degree. So we're really focusing on one thing. So the whole two thoughts in your head, risk and reward, sometimes feels like a lot, right? Um, okay. Somebody needs to be muted. Let me mute somebody real quick. Uh, participants. Not me. Um, I don't know why my mute button isn't showing up. Ah, there you go. Perfect. Ah, cool, cool, cool. So where were we? Where were we? 20, yeah. So if you don't take your 20 to 30% profits, then you risk the profits you already have, right? And this is we could go up into a whole nother psychology talk about what's actually going on in that moment of why we don't do it. And you're going to see how that connects to almost every other aspect of your life. One of the most relative ones or relatable ones is being working out is working out, right? The decision for us to actually go work out is painful, right? We know it's actually good for us, but mentally the thought is painful, so we don't want to do it. In trading, we know that taking that 30% is great, but in the moment it's painful because we know if we take it, then we are taking ourselves out of position to make even more money. And if we have to sit here and watch that price go up and we could have been in that position to make more money, that's going to hurt, right? That's where the pain comes in. And that's where the dilemma of decision making comes in, even when we're winning. And this is what makes trading tricky because even when you're winning, it could feel painful, right? Which makes no sense. um, so this is why I love it, right? Because it literally makes no sense. So it gives me something to do. um, I like to study the brain and I like to take a lot of notes and figure out just why, even though I was up 140%, I didn't take profit. And I realized, oh, it's because your mind was set on the technicals. It wasn't set on the profit. Am I making my decision based on the chart or am I making my decision based on how much money I'm making? Right. And this is where your business plan comes into play, right? Your business plan is like the constitution. If you go into court, if you got to settle the situation, what does the plan say? And this is why it's important to have a business plan and have a trade plan because eventually your own mind, your own emotions will try to talk you out of whatever you're doing or whatever you had planned. All right. So this is the vicious game of trading that we don't really hear about. But it's also the same game that's living inside of your head right now, right? It just hasn't been activated yet. And I like trading because it prepares us to be it activates us, right? And it prepares us mentally to deal with our deepest, darkest selves before the world um brings something to us that brings it out before the market does. So I would rather develop myself, develop all these emotions, develop my ability to respond through the market, through the candles, and develop my patience and understanding um of discipline here um before some random event happens outside the market and in reality well this is reality but you know what I'm talking about and I'm not and I'm experiencing these dark parts of myself for the first time, right? So that's like another way that I see trading is because it does bring that part out of you. That's your opportunity to work on yourself, right? So I'm big into self-development, like reading a lot of books on that type of stuff. So yeah, it really does shape you into being a better person. And when you do the work to be that better person, you literally see your profits increase, So what better job is there, But I also say this is the hardest job in the world because it requires you to change who you are for the better, right? Is people who come in with a lot of ego. Well, if you want to make money, you gotta learn how to tame it, right? We're all gonna have one, but we gotta learn how to manage it. And trading does a really good job at that because you get rewarded, right? Like I said, candy. I like to say candy is the what gets kids excited, the candies and the toys. That's like the reward for them to get them to do something. For adults, the reward for us to get us to do something is money, right? And just understanding how to maneuver these candles, how to read them, is going to increase your chance at making more money. And yeah, that is that. Hope everyone had a great time learning some of this information. But I know we gotta get straight to this main mentorship sponsored seats. Yes, the next 4 weeks. Well, now we'll start in May. So May 4th is the first day, and we'll be doing a class most likely Sunday or Saturday. We gotta see the schedule. I want to see what everyone in the group what we agree to the best time. But we'll be doing 2 classes each week, right? It's gonna be at least 3 hours each week. For 4 weeks, you're getting over 12 hours. The second class will be during the week, and we're gonna be doing market recaps. So just like NVIDIA today, you're gonna learn
The two are changing.
exactly what I seen, what made me get into the trade, my exits, my entries, everything. Um, and yeah, really walk you through. I know some of you might be beginners. That's perfectly fine, right? Um, I got beginner courses. I got stuff for you to catch up to everyone. Um, Bella Honeybee, not too sure where you're at in
Right.
your trading journey. But like I said, if you're a beginner, it's all good. Right? It's all good. It's more of a challenge for me to help you from A to Z. All right. So I really, 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 really appreciate everyone for showing up tonight. Um, Patricia and Bella Honeybee, you could send Alexandria a DM, please. Um, yeah, Alexandria, you could send her a DM in the Zoom chat or to send me a DM on Instagram or email. I'll make sure you guys are good. So yeah, this will be recorded. Um, Reach out to me if you guys would like the recording. And for the
Baby,
4 week
yeah. Don't nobody want to
mentorship,
hear that.
yes,
Yeah. Don't nobody want to hear you talking about no baby.
reach
Yeah.
out to me. If you're interested, I will have that link set up on my website. We're only gonna have about 20 spots. All right, it's gonna be limited because I do want to focus on you guys, right? Making sure I actually teach, make sure you guys actually learn, make sure I actually ask questions, make sure you guys ask the right questions and actually understand it. All right. So like I said, 4 weeks with me and the price will be $4.99 for those 4 weeks. So that comes out to 125 a week. And you're getting over 3 hours of personal classes with me. And that includes live trading and everything as well. So, um, imagine. one month you could be proficient in learning how to trade and how to have a strategy. And the goal is for you guys to trade better than me. All right. So $500 is great price if you look at the market now for, I would say, legit traders. You'll see 1,000 and up for like 4 week mentorships. So yeah, this is half of that, and I believe this is worth quadruple the amount. But it's more about making sure that everyone has the opportunity to learn. We do have payment plans, so you can pay in installments. So you don't have to have everything up front right now. What matters is that you actually want to show up, learn, and do the work, and in 4 weeks to be a lot better at knowing the stuff than you did 4 weeks before. All right. So yes, indeed. Yeah. Feel free to ask all the questions. Dame, who is under uh the Dr. Deontry name, you could ask him what's going on. Sam has been in the mentorship. Um, Let me see. I'm not sure who else in here has been in the mentorship. I know like Kenya took some of my courses. Wheezy, Victor, VO, the man himself, definitely been in my mentorship. So these guys, honestly, everyone I called out, they're placing they're hitting me up in my DMs, sending me the trades that they're making, and it feels good. I'm not gonna lie, like because I feel like I didn't waste my energy, and it just feels good knowing that what I created actually works for someone else other than me, right? Guys feel like, oh, you have to have a certain mindset to understand this stuff. Well, no, you have to build a certain mindset. And I have not only the people who took it, but even Sam. Sam, it took her a while to fully dive in and just start knocking out trades. But once she did, her first trade was almost what 300, 400%, right? You know, so it just makes me proud and it gives me confidence, right? It gives me confidence knowing that I could do this, right? I could teach, right? Because the same way how you guys are like, I don't know if I could learn this, right? The same way I'm like, hey, I know I could teach, but I want to know I could teach. And when I see, you guys just killing it on your own, it gives me confidence that I could do this again, right? And I could do it again. And that makes me say I could teach a beginner to an expert, So yeah, thank you guys for everything. And congratulations to Patricia and Belly. And yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. Stay tuned to the YouTube, the Instagram, the email, and my DM is always open. All right. Hope you guys enjoy the night and have a great one.